Hecate is the goddess of magic and crossroads in ancient Greek mythology. Hecate is not a major deity when compared to the 12 Olympians. It is generally believed that the goddess Hecate was the daughter of Perses and Asteria, both from the second generation of Titans. Nevertheless, some people claim that she was the daughter of Zeus and Hera or Pharia. Yet others state that she was the daughter of Leto or Tartarus. In any case, it is widely accepted that Hecate the goddess was not originally a member of the Greek pantheon. In fact, her cult is said to have originated in ancient Thrace, or perhaps in Caria, Anatolia. The original worshippers of Hecate believed that the goddess had dominion over the heavens, the earth, and the seas, thus making her a very powerful goddess. Hecate, whose name comes from the Greek word hekatos meaning worker from afar, had the power not only to bestow wealth, good fortune and wisdom on those she favored, but also to withhold these gifts from those she deemed unworthy. She was honored by all the gods, including Zeus. As she sided with the Olympians during the Titanomachy, she was the only member of the old regime to retain her power after the defeat of the Titans. In ancient Greek religion, Hecate had many different roles, as the goddess of not only magic, but also witchcraft, spells, night, ghosts, light, necromancy, and even the moon. She was also seen as the goddess of oikos, meaning household and family, and the entrance. Some even associate her with Artemis, who is depicted in a similar style, with boots, torches, and dogs. Hecate is first mentioned in Hesiod's 8th century Theogony. Since she is only lightly mentioned before the Theogony, some scholars argue that the ancient Greek poet was from a city where Hecate had many followers and that his writings helped promote her cult. The Greek goddess Hecate is also mentioned in the myth of Persephone's abduction by Hades. In fact, she plays an important role in this story. Hecate is mentioned in Homer's version of the myth, known as Homer's hymn to Demeter, his most famous literary manifestation written in 600 BC. According to the Homeric poet, Hecate was the only god, other than the sun god Helios, who witnessed Persephone's abduction. Therefore, when Demeter, the goddess of agriculture and Persephone's mother, began searching for her daughter, Hecate accompanied her with a flaming torch in each hand. After Persephone was found, Hecate became her companion and servant. During the time of Greek tragedy, the notion that Hecate was a chthonic, or underworld, deity due to her association with Persephone became common. The earliest representation of the goddess Hecate found so far dates back to the late 6th century BC and was found in Athens. Inscribed with the words Aegon dedicates this to Hecate, this small 20 cm terracotta votive figurine depicts Hecate as a seated woman wearing a crown. Later, however, she was represented as a goddess of 3 forms. In this depiction, Hecate has 3 bodies standing back to back, and it has been speculated that this was so that the goddess could look in 3 directions simultaneously. This corresponds to her role as the deity in charge of crossroads or boundaries. In fact, Hecate was the protector of all in-between spaces, from city walls and territorial borders to entrances. It is because of this role that large pillars or hecateans were erected at crossroads and city gates. One of them was even inserted at an intersection near the Acropolis. Such pillars also stood in doorways and most likely served as apotropaic, with the power to ward off evil. On the previous pillar, the goddess Hecate is depicted wearing a long robe and holding a common torch. Experts believe that this symbolizes her ability to ward off evil spirits. On later pillars she is tripled in shape, and is often accompanied by dogs, allowing her to look in all directions at the same time. Ritual offerings of food known as diapna are left for the goddess Hecate on the last night of the lunar month at crossroads, in the hope of calming the goddess and the restless dead who accompany her. Several dogs are also sacrificed to Hecate. As an intermediary, she also plays a role at the border between life and death. In many depictions she is shown with a key, used to open the gate that divides the 2 realms. Hecate's Grove is the term used by Virgil to describe the entrance to hell, while the Greek magical papyrus claims that Hecate holds the key to Tartaros in the underworld. This was a very powerful role, as the goddess was able to move between the living and the dead and control the fate of others. Hecate's power eventually diminished and her sphere of influence became much more specific. Over time, her role as protector changed until she was represented more clearly as a three-bodied goddess of witchcraft and wizardry, haunting the crossroads alongside the hounds of hell, believed in some accounts to be a restless soul. As a result, she is remembered as the Greek goddess of mystical magic associated with witchcraft. This transformation of Hecate has been traced to 5th century Athens. These days the goddess Hecate, or the Three Goddesses, has become an archetype in the modern neo-pagan pantheon. In the 4th century tragedy works of Sophocles and Euripides, Hecate is depicted as a goddess of magic, while a century earlier, she was portrayed as a much more powerful and empowered goddess, as seen in the works of Aeschylus. Her role is further reinforced by the fact that she is the most frequently mentioned goddess in magical texts, for example the Greek magic papyrus, as well as on ancient Greek curse tablets. The Hecate'S Festival has several aspects associated with it. Deepnon, this ancient festival occurs during the dark moon, astronomical new moon, when there is no sunlight reflecting off the moon. It's the final day of the lunar month and is sacred to Hecate. People honor her as the crossroads goddess, leader of the dead, and a night goddess. On the Deepnon, offerings are made to Hecate at crossroads or equivalent locations, and people clean their homes, altars, and shrines to prepare for the new lunar month. Nemenia, celebrated during the new moon, when the first sliver of a crescent can be seen. Nemenia honors domestic or household deities like Hestia, Zeus Theseus, and Selene, the moon goddess. Hecate is included because she embodies both moon and domestic aspects. Basic offerings of incense, hymns, and libations are made to her and other domestic deities. It's also a time for new projects and planning for the month ahead. Nemoralia, Festival of Torches, originally celebrated by the ancient Romans on the Ides of August, August 13th to 15th, this festival honors the goddess Diana. Although not exclusively dedicated to Hecate, it shares some themes related to torches and moonlight. Hecate's Night, November 16th. In modern practices, this sacred night honors Hecate, the goddess of crossroads, magic, and the unseen. Pagans and witches celebrate by making offerings at their household altars. Initiations for witches who follow Hecate often take place on this night, and Hecate's supper, usually consisting of honey and mushrooms, is left out on followers' doorsteps. As the sun descends, we stand on the threshold. We honor its journey, the apex of light now surrendering to twilight. We light candles, release intentions, and watch the sun dip below the horizon. It's a cosmic farewell, a promise that light will return. If you enjoyed learning about Hecate'S Festival, let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating stories from the world of mythology. Until next time, stay curious.